Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. Let me begin by asking you a question. Do you know how much the Scottish Government is paying for spin doctors every year? No? Well, you're not alone. Most people don't. In fact, they're being very, very secretive about it. And the only reason, of course, that they're going to be secretive is that it is far more than what generally most people would think. It must be increasingly embarrassing to them should the truth ever come out. And yet, we know it must be at least £8 million a month. That was the previous figures released many years ago. And it's the figure that was being bandied around quite a lot. But it looks like it may be even more than that, with increasing numbers of people being assigned to things like the press office or agencies brought in to massage figures, alter perceptions, and basically put a gloss on the inept failures of a failing, near-ending government. Let's have a look at this story to see if any justice can be found, if any figures can be found, and if any sense can be made of why an inept government needs to spend so much on this rather than using the money to fix the problems they have created. Here goes. So, secretive SNP Government refused to release taxpayer cost of army of spin doctors as the number of highly paid civil servants skyrocket. Now, this is the civil servants, the press office and things like that. That's outside, of course, of what they're actually spending on various private consultancy firms that they get in to advise, to rewrite, and in some cases even respell words in order to hide the glaringly bad news that constantly pours forth from Holyrood and the corridors of powerlessness. The Scottish Government's page on how much it pays press officers has not been updated in more than a year. But new figures revealed that the number of civil servants netting more than $100,000 a year has increased by 13 in just a year. Now, that's not how many you've got, that's how many it's increased by. But they're not telling you how many they've got, because that, of course, would be embarrassing. And you've got civil servants now, earning more than the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom. How is this possibly correct? The secretive Scottish Government refused to release how much taxpayers are forking out for its army of spin doctors. And the SNP executive also came under fire after it was revealed the number of highly paid civil servants rocketed by 13 in just a year, despite major funding cuts being made. They're cutting everything everywhere except independence. They cut this, cut health, cut education, cut social care, cut communications, cut transport, cut everything. Except we need more civil servants and we need to give them massive pay rises. Why? Because we need the civil service on our side. They're buying the civil service so that the civil service can basically do the job that they're supposed to do but lack the ability, skills, talent, experience, qualifications, knowledge, common sense, and even just in some cases, humanity. Under Nicola Sturgeon's stewardship, the number of press officers and special advisors spiralled to record high costs, with an outlay of $5.4 million for 2022, which is a significant rise on the $3.6 million in 2018. And this involved 56.7 full-time equivalent press hires and 17 SPADs, both an increase over the 4 years before. Like I say, these are only the ones that are on the books as civil servants that are paid directly for their services received. There's also, as I say, there's also the private companies. There's also the consultancy firms. There's also those who act like agents almost, and they're all putting their bills in. And we know from a figure, I think it's about 3 years ago, it was £8 million a month being spent on spin. And an awful lot of it was in the NHS. And they seem to have this predisposition that they want to hire spin doctors, not real doctors. I think the people out there, waiting for, operations or sitting in A&E or whatever, would prefer the real thing. Anyway, despite these figures now being more than a year out of date, the government refused to publish the new details, instead claiming they would go live in 12 weeks' time. To tide over this, to tide this over, apologies, officials pointing to a web page which has not been updated since October the 7th, 2022. They don't want to tell the truth about anything because they know everything that's true is damaging for them. Everything that they would possibly admit to, it's just going to damage their reputation, show them up for being incompetent, show them up for being wastrels, show them up for being criminals for half of them. The SNP executive did confirm that the number of press officers had decreased in those 2 years to 51.1 FTE. That's because they're farming it out to try and make it look better. It doesn't mean that they're reducing the costs. The number of SPADs has remained the same level for the last 2 years. The cost of them should be published in April, as this is 12 weeks after the initial Freedom of Information request. There should be no SPADs. What a special advisor is someone that you pay to come in to do your job because you're not capable of doing it. I would suggest if you're not capable of doing it, you go, actually, I'm very good, I'm going to resign. Why are we paying someone to do the job that an MP is being paid to do? If the MP or MSP rather is incapable, he shouldn't be doing it. You don't go for an operation and see the janitor, picking up a scalpel ready to open up. Well, the surgeon wasn't very good, so he's brought me in to do it. Anyway, an official wrote, "We consider that it is reasonable to withhold the information until that date, rather than release this routinely published information before the planned publication date. But the Scottish Tories have accused the government of hiding from scrutiny." Of course they are. They don't want anyone to question anything that they do, because everything they do is so utterly bloody awful. Scottish Conservative Deputy Spokesman for the Constitution, External Affairs and Culture Secretary, not Secretary yet, Alexander Stewart, told the Daily Express, "This is depressingly typical of the SNP's addiction to secrecy. Hard-pressed Scots will be appalled that as Humza Yousaf and his government impose swingeing cuts on vital public services, the bill for their army of spin doctors continues to soar." He says, despite the increase in the number of communication staff, no amount of spin can hide the fact that Humza Yousaf oversees a divided, independence-obsessed government, which is failing to tackle the issues that matter to people. This money should be redirected towards Scotland's real priorities, such as fixing our ailing public services and boosting economic growth. I'm not going to go through the rest of it. It's all blather and people giving their views on it. But it is absolutely appalling that this man here is so incapable of doing his job that he has to hire a whole army of people to put the spin on everything he says, everything he does, everything he fails to do, hiding the truth, and then hiding the cost of this because it's embarrassing to him. If he's just incapable, he should stand there and say, yes, I have no idea what I'm doing. I am totally useless in my job. I need to hire people to do the job that I'm paid a lot of money to do because I'm so utterly inept and incapable. And then offer his resignation. Ain't gonna happen. Coming up. Things like this should be routinely published monthly basis. Publish monthly spending. It don't have to be penny accurate, but if it was ballpark figures every month, that would hold them to account. And these aren't big problems. They've got an accounting system. They can just run a report and go basically a balance sheet and a profit and loss every month. Bang, just there it is. Yes, sure, things will take time to report in. They'll get caught in the next one or whatever. But it's no hardship to them to publish monthly P&L and balance sheet reports and let people see exactly what is going on and where the money is being spent. The fact that they don't goes to show that they're hiding a lot of things that they must hide because it would damage them or embarrass them. They are absolute charlatans. Anyway, I shall stop there. Thank you very much for watching. Do please hit the subscribe button. Really helps. Ring the bell, leave a like, leave a comment. Please share the video. I will speak to you later. Bye.